Hey, it's me AP. In this video, I will be discussing physical movies, DVDs, Blu-rays, and the big question for me in this video is, will they last? So, physical movies, DVDs, Blu-rays, will they last? Why do I ask this question for this video? I asked this question because I recently visited my local Goodwill stores, charity shops in the UK, and I was just doing the usual thing, just looking at the movies, the video games. My collecting habits is, I buy stuff that I want. I don't just buy for the sake of it. So I'm not just going to buy a bunch of movies that I've never watched. I tend to buy stuff that I've either heard of or something that I've watched before and I want on DVD or video games. But let's just stick to movies within this video. I only collect DVDs. I've never owned a Blu-ray player. I don't own any Blu-rays currently. Maybe that'll change in the future, but at this moment in time, I'm quite happy with DVDs, and I have a few digital versions of movies as well. But for me, as I said, I went to my local charity shop here in the UK, and I went around a few of them. And this is post. We're still in lockdown somewhat, but things are starting to reopen here. And I noticed before the whole pandemic, there was tons of DVDs, and I mean, each shot you would go in, it would just be mountains, walls of DVDs and Blu-rays. But I've just seen it recently since I've went back and since all the Goodwill charity shops have reopened. There seems to be a lacking. It looks like they've got rid of DVDs, and I don't know whether this is to further charities, maybe to warehouses, and I don't even know. Maybe this is just my own local ones, but I've noticed this in a few that the the amount of DVDs and movies available, physical movies, has just incredibly decreased, and I think a lot of people like myself would the route of getting DVDs and as such would be through like charity shops nowadays because you don't get them in a lot of retail shops apart from maybe like the big releases, the big new releases, like your big Marvel movies, your big blockbusters. But if you're looking for like the older movies and just general movies that have been out for years on end, you're not going to get them in big retail shops straight away unless it's a dedicated store to DVDs. But they are few and far between now. Like here in the UK, we had HMV, and that is a shop that was really big in the UK for years. That got shut down, and I think it reopened, but it was limited stores throughout the UK. But now we don't have a lot of them locally around where I am in the northwest of England. So, I mean, charity shops was the place where you could get DVDs that you wouldn't have picked up prior, and that would be my route of getting DVDs. But as I said, since I've went in the past few weeks, since the pandemic is eased somewhat more, the DVDs seems to have just decreased, and I've not actually asked them exactly why this happened, and maybe that is a bad thing on my behalf. Maybe I should have done some report and some journalism here to find out, get to the bottom of why there's less DVDs in these charity shops. But yeah, there seems to be a lot less, and it is making me think. And this is why I thought about making this video. I mean, are we seeing a time where DVDs in the sources where we got them from? The charity shops were probably the last resource of finding DVDs, the last place, the inventory of DVDs and Blu-rays, old ones. Are we seeing that fade away now? Are we seeing that slowly to just go away and they don't want to take DVDs anymore, movies? Maybe that is the case because it happened with videos. It happened with videos, and maybe the same thing is going to happen with the rest of physical movies. Maybe. So if this is the case that, DVDs and Blu-rays, physical movies are being decreased in these shops, whether it be now or whether it be a year's time or 2 years' time, we've got to say, where is physical movies going to last from this point forward, or whenever it does happen, the decrease, like videos did happen, the decrease in video sales, where do we get them from? Obvious choice, it's survival online. You've got your resellers of eBay, Amazon. I think what helps the community of just movie collecting in general is, great YouTubers, video bloggers of any sort. talking about movies, there's a lot that I enjoy watching is like films at home, Serial at Midnight, and there's many more out there. But people like these guys that they're creating videos that are talking about movies and just creating more fans of collecting movies. And I think this is where movies are going to survive online, and there's going to be a demand for different types of genres. And I think that's where I see movies surviving more so than buying them in a charity shop or a Goodwill shop, because if we got like a YouTuber talking about a video, a film series, a particular one, maybe it's a collector's item. People are gonna more so get involved in that and want to buy that, and then they're gonna get involved in maybe more movies by that particular director or in that genre of films. And I think, kudos to anyone, and I'm trying to do it myself, my good part myself in talking about cinema, movies. Um, it's YouTubers, video bloggers are hopefully gonna, talk more about movies, and I think this is where it's like a big piece of a puzzle. It's resellers, people who talk about movies. It's just creating this big circle of buzz that'll hopefully help movies, physical movies, survive and continue to be released, because it's just going to come to a point where retailers in general just won't sell them because they won't make as much money. They won't make the money. It won't be worthwhile. And you're going to see it. It's definitely going to happen. There's no doubt about it. It's happening in the video game industry as well. You're seeing a gradual decrease of stuff being physical items. And as I said, I think, in my own opinion, physical movies are just going to be exactly the same way as the videos. We all go the same way as the dinosaurs, but survival online is our hope. There is hope, and it is survival online. Another great resource for physical movies is companies like Criterion Collection. So Criterion Collection, if you're not aware, are a company online that re-release old movies, they print new movies, they offer things like bonus commentary tracks, a lot of extra bonuses with them DVDs and Blu-rays to collectors of movies. And this is great because these sort of companies, and there's tons of companies out there, I'm sure, like Criterion Collection, that are offering, restoring old movies that we maybe wouldn't have got before, but they're creating that buzz, and people want them old movies. People want that cinema experience and the old cinema movies, what would have been lost in time, to be restored, and they want to watch it on modern TVs. They want to watch it now on the big TVs they got in the front room, the 4K TVs. So I think companies like Criterion are great. Personally, I don't own any Criterion DVDs. I've only actually heard about this company more recently through, people on YouTube, like Serial Midnight, Films at Home. I think it's great. It's only, as a filmmaker myself, I love the fact that like old movies are getting, the treatment of like modern movies, getting restored to be seen in great picture, and that is fantastic for filmmakers. And I think, this company on the website is sort of like stating we work with like the filmmaker's vision of what a movie should be like, and it sounds like they are working with filmmakers really closely to get everything perfect for the release of us consumers, us film goers. We want to watch. I think more and more now, especially with what is going on in the world right now. We want to watch movies at home, and we want to have comfort at our home, and we want to watch loads of different movies and have loads of extras as well. So with all these like bonus features, they're offering commentary tracks, tons more bonus features. Getting more bang for your buck. It's all you want as a moviegoer and a movie watcher at home. I personally, I watch more movies at home than I do at the cinema. So for me, hearing about like Criterion Collection, the collections, the movies they've been putting out is super exciting. So I think it's awesome. And also it just, it continues the release. It's the survival of physical movies online. And it keeps that release of physical movies, which is so important. DVDs, Blu-rays, they're continuing, and it's companies like this that will help, movies survive as a physical format rather than digital. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today. Please do subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. And as I said, I think movie collecting is very important to us as as people. We want to watch stuff that's a lot of like kids now, they'll only watch the movies that are released like today. They're not going to watch old movies. And me personally, I'm like that myself. I'm like late 20s, and there's tons of movies from like the 1920s, 1930s, 40s, 50s I've never even heard of. But it's cool that these movies should be watched, because there's some cracking movies out there that are just not discovered by people, myself included. And I think this is so important that you hear about companies like Criterion Collection and others like that who are releasing the old movies. And this is, it's nice to see, because as I said, I went into the charity shops, there's no movies there, they're decreasing, and then it just makes me feel like they're just going to go the same way as videotapes, VHS, and it's going to be same thing where DVDs are just got to that point where you feel like, oh, why do I have them? But it's just nice to be able to, grab out a movie from the shelf. I got my shelf back here, my DVD collection. It's nice to be able to have the movies, and especially like older movies being re-released. It's cool. It's important as well to cinema. It's important to history. There's so many different elements that make it so important to continue the physical release of movies. And I'm not saying that digital movies are wrong. I have a few digital movies myself, and there's nothing wrong with having digital movies. But if you want to have certain movies that you really enjoy, and you want to have them as physical possessions, physical media items, what's wrong with that? If you enjoy it and you get a lot of joy out of it, and you want to you've got it there, I think that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. And, hopefully the survival of physical movies online will help the survival of cinema forevermore.